Now, photorealism may be all that and a bag of chips, but do better graphics always lead to a more enjoyable experience? Hello, friends, family, and part-time work associates. My name is Ruby, and today I'll be showcasing 3 indie titles that defy the notion that better graphics make for a better game. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the games released this generation are some of the best I've seen in years, maybe even of all time. But sometimes I get overwhelmed with the sheer magnitude and scope of these AAA titles. In the future, I might make a video about why I think this happens to me, and if I do, you can watch that with this card here. But I found that whenever I get overwhelmed like this, a good, simple, fun game is all it really takes to pull me out of that funk so I can get back to enjoying the things I love, which is video games. With all that being said, let's get into it. Imagine, if you will, that you are a poet, and maybe, just maybe, you didn't even know it, and you had a sonnet, or perhaps even a limerick in your heart to tell. Now imagine that you live in an authoritarian deep state that polices almost every aspect of your life, regardless of your fundamental human rights. That, of course, is the zany, wacky world of Grimsfield. Grimsfield is a top-down 3D isometric puzzle solver. This one was made as a passion project by the creator Adam Wells, an animator turned game designer whose interest in impressionism seems to have bled through just a little bit into his game design. Now, Adam goes by the handle eSchooler on Itch.io, and this appears to be the only game on their creator page. So I went ahead and gave them a follow anyways, just in case, and I'll let you know if they drop anything new in the future. This game is a point-and-click adventure/puzzle solver where knowledge is key. Here you'll need to talk to strangers, take note of objects, and use clues from your handy quote-unquote Mr. Brain in order to progress. The humor here is clever and sometimes downright hilarious. I found myself laughing out loud on more than one occasion at some dialogue option or ridiculous situational humor. I think Adam's use of simple shapes and monochromatic color palette to express characters in depth is really impressively done here. It makes the environments feel oppressive and devoid of color, which I think really helps sell the authoritarian narrative of this game. Apparently here you need a poet's license to perform poetry, but despite its small scope and aesthetic, the world still manages to feel busy and alive. And that is more than I can say for some AAA titles I've played in recent years. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy 15. You'll gather information, solve puzzles, and purchase glue from a, certain kind of establishment, and you'll use the items and information you collect to progress. What I really loved about this game is that everything came together in a satisfying, cohesive way. This game respected my time, but more importantly, it really felt like it was worth the effort. It really made me feel like I accomplished something by the end of it, in a way that only a good game can. Just a heads up, there's a British trivia minigame in this title, so I'll give you a hint. If you haven't already, go read or watch Good Omens, and you'll have a head start. Not just in this game, but in life, generally. Neil Gaiman is a genius author, and Terry Pratchett wasn't half bad either. Hello everybody, welcome back to my Neil Gaiman fan channel where we discuss all things Neil Gaiman. Anyway, the game is free on Itch.io, but the author is accepting donations, so if you love good games and have a few dollars to spare, go check them out. Grimsfield did a great job of using basic shapes and grayscale to express the world around it. But the next game in this showcase tells a chilling story through its simple narrative and environmental design. So I'm not exactly sure how to describe this game. At its core, Resurgent is a 2D side-scrolling exploration game where story is the main focus. This title was designed and developed by Tristan Harris, a solo game dev whose other notable works include Checkers. It's just Checkers, which I did play, and I can say with some certainty that it was about as good as a checker simulator can be. So, there is that. Resurgent finds you in the shoes of the survivor of a zombie apocalypse, and as far as narratives go, it's hard to go wrong with zombie apocalypses. You'll need to explore ruins, scavenge for clean food and water, and avoid the quote-unquote infected, all while making your way across the city to find warmth and shelter for the cold and bitter nights. Along the way, you'll find journals and newspaper clippings that tell the story of what happened to this point. These little snippets do a really good job of reinforcing the tone and theme of this game and create a sense of dread and foreboding throughout the adventure. There are two things this game does really well: atmosphere and environmental storytelling. There is no music, except towards the end. Instead, there's just this unnerving sound that pulses throughout the entire game. Here, just listen to it. It really heightens the tension and creates a sense of climbing anxiety throughout the whole experience. That, coupled with objects like downed street lamps, crumbled buildings and bridges, and abandoned tanks, really tell the story of what happened both before and after the fallout occurred. The game is short and can be really fully explored in about an hour, but it's well worth the time. The title is currently free on itch.io, and like the previous game in this entry, the creator does accept donations, so you should go check them out as well. So we've just seen how Grimsfield used basic shapes and a grayscale color palette to portray life in an oppressive society. And we've just looked at Resurgent and how its simple mechanics and pixelated design can create an atmosphere of anxiety and suspense with the right tension and sound effects. But what about a game that uses only 2 colors to create a fun and engaging platforming experience? Enter Outline. Outline is a 1-bit, yeah, you heard me, 1-bit puzzle platformer made by creator Daniel Linson. Now, upon looking at Daniel's creator page, I can see why this game has the polish it does. So it was at this point during the editing process that I realized that I had left my headphones on throughout the entirety of this next section. So, are they stylish? Do they accentuate my masculine features? Do they make me look like a pretty boy? These are all questions I want, nay, need answers to. So let me know. It seems that Daniel is no stranger to indie game development, and some of the games here look so fun and imaginative that I'm definitely going to have to revisit this creator in another video. In this game, you play as an eraser, navigating your way through levels drawn on sheets of paper. You'll need to bounce from platform to platform, wall jump, and avoid obstacles to complete each level. This sounds pretty easy, and it would be if it weren't for the game's central game mechanic, which has you erasing everything in your path. You'll need to have a great spatial memory in order to tackle each challenge. This game is just satisfying to play. The controls are smooth and responsive, the visuals are pleasing, and the sound design here is on point. The peaceful melody in the background, coupled with the unobtrusive sound effects, really kept me from throwing my X input controller, fully compatible by the way, at the wall on my 27th respawn, much to the relief of my drywall. Oh, and you will die. A lot. But I think that the inclusion of an automatic reset button was a really great idea. I have to say, allowing you to reset a stage as many times as you need in order to finish it was a really nice touch, and seriously helped alleviate any frustration I might have felt throughout the entire experience. 100% job well done. The game is simple, easy to pick up, engaging to play, and it's just fun. It's a small, simple, fun game with quirky humor and an interesting gimmick. Like all the other creators featured here, Daniel allows you to name your own price for their games, at least the ones that are listed on itch.io. The creator page, along with all the others, will be linked in the description down below. If you have time, I would definitely suggest checking out their catalog. They have some really fun and imaginative games there. And that's it. Before you go, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who joined me today. And if you stuck around to the end and you enjoyed the content, maybe consider subscribing to the channel for more cool indie titles. And if you like this video, you may enjoy some of my other content, like this stuff here, or that one there. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again when the time is right.